What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Wake Up and Ball. I am your host on Fridays, Tony Dow. Man, I hope everybody is having a great morning. Punch that like button on your way in the building. Let your friends and family members know about the channel. Let's get it! Man, oh man, y'all come on in the building. Get in the building. Let's wake up and ball. This is your wake up call. Woo! I see y'all coming in. Y'all hit that like button. Do me a favor. Go ahead and share this video out to your social medias. Let people know that we're live this morning. Let's go. Hello, chat. What up, Aquavision? Shout out to everybody tuning in right now. Ericimi, I see you. New York Jets in the house. JKP, what's up? Zach Turk, Aquavision, Beyond the Details. Good morning to you all. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Wake up and ball. Wake up and ball. TD versus Richie. Yeah, we gonna debate it all. Yeah. Let's go. We waking up this morning, y'all. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Everybody starting their day. Is Friday. It's a beautiful Friday. We're about to get it. Going into the weekend. I hope y'all enjoy your weekend. Let's finish out the week strong. All right. And whatever walks of life that you are taking, let's finish out strong and enjoy our weekend, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go. All right, y'all, man. We got so much to discuss this morning. So much to discuss. All right. Last night's game, we're going to get into that first. We're going to break that down right here on Wake Up and Ball. Y'all hit that like button on your way in the building. Nice to see you too, Ericimi. But this stream is being powered by BetUS. Take advantage of a 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000 using code YouTube150. All right, once again, that is code YouTube150. All right, if you're looking for a new sports book, BetUS is where you want to be. All right, now let's go ahead and look at some of the NFL odds for this weekend on BetUS. As you all see, that first game at 1 o'clock, Indianapolis Colts versus the Detroit Lions. It's a very interesting one. I wanted to bring it up because the Detroit Lions are -9, but, you know, I don't want to give you too much advice. But what I will say is, when you have spreads like this with the Detroit Lions, they've been winning by 30, 40 points, ladies and gentlemen. So I don't know if I would actually run away from that -9. They've been literally blowing out the bad teams. So look into that, all right? All the way down the board, the odds are up. So get into the games that you like right on BetUS. Now remember, BetUS is not just the sports book. It also has live betting, casino, race book, and so much more, including BetUS TV, all right? Get into the game on BetUS. All right, let's get into it, man. Let's get into it. Last night's game, I think that is a healthy place for us to start this morning. A lot went down on that field, and I'm going to be honest with you, man. What a game. I knew that it might go down the way that it did. Jameis Winston leads the Browns in late fourth quarter win. All right, listen, first of all, we got to start out talking about this weather. I told y'all yesterday, I said, you know, you're going to pick the Steelers, but it's something about this game, the Browns defense, and then the weather, the way the weather is shaping out that it's supposed to be. I would not be surprised if the Browns didn't get the upset here, because the Steelers are also coming off of a high beating Baltimore. And sure enough, I called it. The Browns get the W, man. Anytime a team goes up in Cleveland playing in that type of weather, it's hard. The visibility is rough. You know, it's a running game, even though, you know, the Pittsburgh Steelers made a few passing plays. But this was a tough environment to actually have to play in. Very tough to actually have to play in, ladies and gentlemen. And Jameis Winston, man, I think everybody's laughing about Jameis Winston, you know, before the game. You know, you don't become a Brown until you beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. and you need God on your side to do it, and that's who I'm leaning on. And sure enough, man, he got the victory. Jameis Winston got the victory. All right. And how did they do it? I'm going to be honest with you. We got to take some time to give Jameis Winston a little shout out too, though. I mean, he played a good game overall. He made some big plays when it mattered most. You could tell where he left some opportunity on the field, but for the most part, he played a good game. Made some key throws, helped this team continue to go down the field, put up some points, and in the clutch moment at the end of the game, really put the team somewhat on his back by making those huge throws to get him in the red zone. And you add everything around them with Nick Chubb and all of that, they get a victory. They get a victory, man. And in a nasty game like that, he only threw for 219 yards, but that's phenomenal considering the weather. 67% completion percentage considering that weather. Jameis Winston led his team to a victory last night. So big shout out to Jameis Winston. He got the job done. That was pretty dope. Shout out to Glenn. I see you coming in the building. What's up, brother? Beyond the details. Love y'all. If y'all want to become a member of the channel, hit that join button. Shout out to the mod squad in the building as well. All right. But yeah, man, Jameis Winston gets the W. And I'm going to be honest with you. It has you a little bit more concerned about my team, who have to go in about 3-4 weeks up to Cleveland. And the projection is supposed to be about 29 degrees or lower. And it might be the same snowing situation. And a team that's fighting for their playoff hopes, that's a tough situation to be in. Man, oh man. But the Steelers go down. This is not panic mode, ladies and gentlemen, for the Steelers. You want to know why it's not panic mode for the Steelers? Because the same Browns team beat the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, all they do, they play an upset. The Browns are playing upset for everyone. This same Browns team beat the Ravens. So it's all fair game. And this isn't nothing where you say, oh, man, the Steelers in trouble now. The Ravens lost to the same Steelers team. And when you think about that, though, the Browns beat the Ravens and the Steelers, two of the best teams in the league. See, this goes to show you the Browns have talent. They just having issues getting it together. On every phase of the football, it's not just the quarterback situation, ladies and gentlemen. It's all up and down that team. But when they play these division rivals, the Browns are playing spoilers. They are playing spoilers. Now, I know somebody said Browns are okay to good with Watson out. Well, I mean, they were just like this with Watson, though. Nobody's talking about that. They played like this with Watson, technically. It's just the O-line was beat up when Watson was there. The week Watson got hurt, the very next week, two of their best offensive linemen came back. They had the best game of the season right then and there, right when Watson was no longer the quarterback, when the O-line got healthy. Then the next 3-4 weeks, they were terrible, just like they were with Watson. And then all of a sudden, this game right here, bam, they get a win. So I don't think this is about the quarterback like people want to make it to be. See, I think Watson is the easy scapegoat. Now, don't get me wrong. Watson's playing like trash. Watson was playing like trash as a Brown. But I think Watson has become the easy scapegoat for the bigger issues of this team. They have it in them, but everybody got to do their job and everybody got to play well. And they were catching passes last night. They were doing their job. And when Watson was here, they kept dropping passes. They wouldn't protect the quarterback. I think the bigger issue in Cleveland is consistent protection at the quarterback position. And if they can consistently protect the quarterback, they can be a great team. But that's where they fell off this year, in my opinion. All right. But we'll see how they build onto this. But listen, they're going to play spoiler alert for the rest of the season. They are going to play spoiler alert for the rest of the season. And when you really look at the Browns, matter of fact, let me pull it up real quick. I'm going to go ahead and show you all the teams that they could potentially be a huge spoiler to. Okay. All right. So they obviously, Denver Broncos next week. Now they got to go to Denver, so that's a different story, but the weather should be cold in this Monday Night Football, another primetime game. And not to mention, when you think about that, that also means, hold on, that's a 22nd. Hold on, 1. Yeah. 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 10 days. They get a nice little break to sit back and watch all this football and prepare for the Denver Broncos. On a Monday Night Football, cold in Denver, obviously, at night at this time of year. So they're used to the elements just like the Broncos, but they can play spoiler to Denver, and Denver needs to win. Denver can't afford to drop any losses with all those teams breathing down their neck, like the Bengals, like the Dolphins, the Colts, and so many others. They can't afford to drop any. They need to keep winning. Pittsburgh, they got to play them again in 2 weeks. So Pittsburgh losing that game, now they go on the road to the Steelers. Can they do it again? I don't think they could do it in Pittsburgh, but they just did it. So who's to say they won't do it again? Then the Browns are at home versus the Chiefs, y'all. Versus the Chiefs. Now, I like the Chiefs' defense, and that's what I believe can hold them down, but I don't know. This is on the road, December 15th, the coldest of cold weathers in Cleveland. This is when those storms come through. And last but not least, they play, no, not last but not least, but they have the Bengals. And the Bengals are breathing down Denver's neck. Then they have the Dolphins who need a win, but the Dolphins got to go on the road in Cleveland. And last but not least, the last game of the season, the Baltimore Ravens, but in Baltimore. So Cleveland is set up to play 6 teams that are still in playoff contention, and they can play some nasty, spoiler alert, football right now. Now, if you're crazy, some people say, well, if Steelers win out, they can win 9 games, and you never know. No, it's over for them. Because they're not winning out in this type of schedule. They're not going to go 6-0 for the rest of the way. But, man, what 2 or possibly 3 teams can they upset? Because I think that's possible. I think it's possible for Cleveland to upset 2 or 3 of these teams any given Sunday. And primarily the ones that they play at home, which are the Dolphins, the Chiefs. Those 2 are at home. The other 4 are on the road. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. But the Broncos are in upset mode. But let me tell you what happened in this game. The Steelers just opened the door once again, wide open. They left the door wide open for the potential of losing the division. They left that wide open, the potential of losing the division. Why? Because they still had to play the Baltimore Ravens on December 21st, which could once again decide the division. But they also got to play the Chiefs, the Eagles, the Bengals twice. Man, that whole division is just tough. Their schedules the rest of the way in the AFC North is just brutal. We'll see who comes out on top, but it's still anyone's game. And don't sleep, ladies and gentlemen, on the Bengals. They are still not out of it for that very reason. They got a hill to climb, but they're still not out of it. If the Bengals play their best version of football, say the Bengals go undefeated from this point on out, that means the Bengals basically, because they still got to play the Pittsburgh Steelers, by the way, twice. If they go undefeated throughout the rest of these games, they could win 10 games. And who knows, that could be good enough to get them in the playoffs, because in that process, they got to play Denver and Pittsburgh twice. And that Denver win could actually tie them with Denver, but they would own the tiebreaker at that point. So time will tell. We shall see. Things are definitely heating up in the AFC North, ladies and gentlemen. All right. They said, TD, no Richie today. On Fridays, I am solo on Wake Up and Ball. Richie, he has a engagement that he's involved with every Friday. So I take the reins and y'all get to enjoy TD, man. We have a good conversation every Friday, all right? Together. All right, so let's switch gears real quick. I want to go over to the NBA, and I want to give a special shout out to Lamelo Ball. Man, I don't know if y'all follow many of you all follow the NBA like this, but this kid is actually becoming a superstar in front of our very own eyes, in my opinion. 35 points last night, 9 assists, 6 rebounds. Overall, I just thought that he lifted his team when they needed him most. And this is one of the up-and-coming rising stars. You got all these young stars in the league, but one that isn't mentioned much at all is Lamelo. And when you look at what he's been doing this season, you know, his season statistics averaging 29 points a game, it's anything short of just phenomenal. I mean, it's phenomenal how he's putting the team on his back, how he's just absolutely balling out. This is his career best right now. And many don't know his career high was 23.9 points a game. The man is literally 5 points better than his career high, and this is his 5th year in the league, becoming what I believe is a superstar. It just reminds me of when his brother came in, Lonzo, who could never stay healthy and still never lived up to what we thought he would be. And, you know, everybody, it kind of rubbed off on all the other Ball brothers. And Lamelo is the cream of the crop. Lamelo is the cream of the crop. Arasimi says Lonzo is my favorite player, but I enjoy Lamelo's game. Looks a little unorthodox, and that makes it more fun to watch. Hey, Lonzo's your guy, but Lamelo's better. Lamelo's better, man. I have Lonzo Ball jersey. See, you're invested, but Lamelo is better, man. I mean, I just wanted to stop. I just really wanted to just give him a second to just give him a shout out, man. And let me tell you what he did last night. What I was mostly impressed about with Lamelo Ball last night was the fact that not only did he put up 35 points, but they held him on the bench extra long in the second quarter because he picked up 3 fouls in the first quarter early. In the first quarter, he picked up 3 fouls early. And they sat him when it was time for him to come in. He was still on the bench because the coach didn't want to take a chance. But when he got back in the game, finally, he just went right back to cooking. The kid, when he's on the court, it's nothing but cooking. Nothing but cooking. He gets it the easy way, gets it the hard way, just electric, just explosive. And I love players like that. But players like that don't usually get noticed. They like, oh, Lamelo Ball scoring points. But you like, Lamelo Ball is better than Jalen Brunson to me, but people talk about Brunson more. You you got kids like Lamelo, the one out west. I call him Shanghai Alexander. I don't even be knowing how his name, so I just say Shanghai. Whatever, Children's Alexander, whatever. I ain't gonna even try to get the name right. All right. But this is just phenomenal. I wonder how long he's gonna stay with the Hornets. Is it gonna be forever? Is he going to eventually want to get out of there? Because I just don't think he'll ever win a championship with them. And his talent is so great that you would think that he would, but I don't think he will. And that's part of the issue. All right. Said Richie would be flipping if he heard the Brunson slander. Wow. You know what? I'm going to save that then. Brunson or Lamelo? I mean, Brunson or Lamelo. Who's better? I'll say that for Monday for Richie. I know Richie gonna be hating and take Brunson's side, but he is not better than Lamelo Ball. Lamelo is that dude. Lamelo is, man, listen, that's the future. TD Wemby is the future of the NBA. Maybe. I mean, he has the talent to be, but is he? Is he like officially the future? He's great, by the way. But you like to see somebody like Lamelo linked up with a Wemby. Oh, man, Lamelo and Wemby. Oh, that would be sick. See, stuff like that, man, that's what you want to see, that killer combination. But yeah, Wemby is the future, but how dominant? I mean, he's going to be dominant no matter what. His physical traits are going to allow him to be. But what about his success in the league? You know, what successes will he have from like a playoff and championship standpoint? I don't see any until they, load up. They need superstars, man. Wemby can't do it by himself. So, yeah. Brunson way better. Mavericks' biggest mistake ever. Brunson way better than who? LaMelo? Oh, yeah. Me and Richie must be going to go at it because some of y'all disagree. Yeah. Yeah, we definitely. All right, man. But that's enough for him. I just wanted to show him some love. These are the segments, that I feel like we got to start having because guys go overlooked. They do great stuff in this league. You got to give them their props for doing it. We got to stop overlooking some of our better talent in the league. All right. All right. Let's move on to the next topic here. I want to play a game. Where do they end up? Okay. Where do they end up? So this is back in the NFL right now, okay? Where do they end up? All right, so I'm going to pull up the standings, and I'm going to put it on the screen. And that way we can go ahead and take a look at the potential draft order. All right? Give me a second. Let me get it up here. All right. Playoffs. Here we go. Potential draft order. All right. Where will they end up? Y'all give me a second. I want to get a better view so that y'all can see it very well. All right, here we go. We'll go with the league. Perfect. All right. Let me share my screen real quick. We should be good to go. All right, here we go. I like this view better. All right, let me put myself down here. Matter of fact. Yeah. All right, cool. This is good enough. All right, so here we are. We're going to look at the bottom here. And let me blow this up. All right, there we go. That's beautiful. Let's look at this bottom set. All right, I think everybody's in view. So we're going to play an early game of where will they go. Right now, the Jacksonville Jaguars have the number 1 pick overall. Now, I don't know if they're going to maintain this pick, but I want to play a little game. If the draft were to start today, what would happen? And I think the biggest question would be in the NFL is, should Jacksonville keep the number 1 overall pick? So I want to hear from you in the chat. Let me know in the chat right now. What are your thoughts on this? Because the Jags are making it seem like they don't need a quarterback. Trevor is the future. They just paid him. But then they could run up into a conundrum because you have a guy named Travis Hunter that will be available at number 1, or do you trade the number 1 pick to another team and get a haul of first round and second round picks? Let me know in the chat. What would you do, or what do you think the Jags' best course of action is right here? Do you take Travis Hunter, or do you trade for a plethora of picks? Let me know in the chat. We'll have a little interaction here. I'm just curious of your thoughts, and then I'll give you mine. All right. They should trade it. Look at the Jets all the way at the bottom. Man, the Jets are a part of this right here. I'm not convinced Jacksonville isn't taking a quarterback. We're going to get into that too. All right. So let me break this down for you. There are 3 options for the Jacksonville Jaguars. All right. As Glenn says, trade that pick to the 3rd spot. So the first option is the nuclear option. You know what? Let's trade Trevor Lawrence. And if you trade Trevor Lawrence, what are you trading Trevor Lawrence for? Like, what's Trevor Lawrence's value on the trade market? And when I say that, people need to understand this. Whatever team trades for Trevor Lawrence, They aren't going to be paying a lot of money at all. Y'all got to remember that. The team trading for Trevor Lawrence is not trading for a $48-50 million guy. The dead cap still belongs to Jacksonville, so the team trading for him, they're going to be getting the best cap hits for the next 3 to 4 years, period, because they don't have to pay the guaranteed money. Whoever selects him, it's actually lucrative. It's like, oh, yeah, let's get Trevor. We won't have to pay him the big bucks. They got to pay a large part of that contract. Glenn said Trevor's worth a second-round pick, and I disagree. Trevor Lawrence is worth a first-round pick that's the eighth overall pick all the way in the 20s with a little more. I think, I've been hearing people say Trevor worth the second. Trevor is a starting quarterback who people don't deem as a bust. This isn't your typical bust, but it's also not your proven guy worth 3 first-round picks. But he's at least worth a first-round pick. You can get a 12th, 13th overall pick for Trevor Lawrence. People saying you can't, it's just not true. The great quarterbacks, you're getting 3 to 4 first-round pick equivalences for them. So a guy who isn't a bust, that's better than all backups, that's a starter, low-end starter, he's worth a first-round pick. And JT said that contract hefty, though, not for the team trading for him. This is what I need you all to understand. The team trading for him will not have to deal with the hefty contract. The guaranteed money the Jags are responsible for. It's a deal for whatever team that's actually trading for him. But I bring that up to say this. If the Jacksonville Jaguars took the nuclear approach and say, and this is how I like to do things so that we don't have to argue. Let's just say that they're able to get the 20th overall pick for Trevor Lawrence. They would actually get Cam Ward number 1 overall. And then they would have a 20th overall pick. And I think they could do better than the 20th overall pick, ladies and gentlemen. They could do better than that. But that's what they would be doing. And they would be swapping quarterbacks and picking up an additional first-round pick to help the team. So they have 5 years of potential low salary to deal with Trevor Lawrence's money, in which they'll only have to eat the dead cap for the next 2 years. They'll take those big hits while they're rebuilding. It's actually a smart idea. But they probably won't do it. They probably won't do it. Now, the next option is draft Travis Hunter. That's the next option. Draft Travis Hunter. Go bolster that defense. You get some special teams play, maybe even some offense. Have another weapon both ways. That's another thing they can do. Or they can take that pick overall and trade it out and get the big haul, ladies and gentlemen. What is the big haul worth? The big haul is worth, for Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders or Travis Hunter, the big haul will be worth about 3 first-round picks. The big haul will be worth about 3 first-round picks. So if Jackson and one of those picks returned will be in the top 10. Tennessee would be trying to do it. The Giants would be trying to do it. The Raiders would be trying to do it. The Jets might be trying to do it. New England's going to be content where they are right now, but they may want a Travis Hunter and be trying to do it. The Cleveland Browns might be trying to do it, or they want to continue to bolster their defense and get a Travis Hunter. Dallas, tricky situation there too. Same as the Jags. Should they trade their star that they just paid? Carolina would be trying to do it. The Saints could be trying to do it. It's crazy how many teams would be looking for a quarterback. But we can tell you now, it is guaranteed that Tennessee, New York, Raiders, Jets, Browns, Carolina, and New Orleans, 7 teams that are without a shadow of a doubt needing a new quarterback. Needing a quarterback. Very interesting. So that's why the asking price is going to be so heavy. And you want to know who will be the heaviest payers? The Raiders. I'm going to tell y'all now, this segment pretty much for the most part is supposed to be where is Shedeur Sanders' landing spot? Looking ahead to the 2025 draft, same thing with Travis Hunter. What's his landing spot looking ahead of the 2025 draft? Also, Cam Ward's landing spot looking ahead to the 2025 draft. But let's start with Shedeur Sanders here, ladies and gentlemen. Here's the reality. I believe that Shedeur Sanders is going to end up being a Raider. I think the Raiders, the tank is pretty much going to be in. And I think that they're going to get a package deal with Shedeur Sanders and Deion Sanders potentially. If you didn't see it recently, Deion Sanders was on the show with Ice Cube. And Deion actually asked Ice Cube, being from, Oakland, representing the Raiders, being the ambassador, quote unquote, for the Raiders, the number one fan. He said, man, what should I do? I've been coaching my son my whole life, every level, all the way up to college. What should I do? And, Ice Cube basically said, man, you asking me, you need to come be a Raider, you and Shedeur. And he was like, so you think I should follow my son? And then they were laughing, dapping up on it, like, yeah, you got the right idea. Even Deion was doing it. And I'm like, man, they're probably going to be Raiders. The Raiders are probably going to get Shedeur Sanders and possibly Deion Sanders. Both of them may end up being Raiders, ladies and gentlemen. Now, how are the Raiders going to do it? How are they going to get ahead of New York and Tennessee or whoever is above them at the time? Well, first and foremost, they probably will have a top 2 or 3 pick when it's all said and done, because I don't think they want to win any more games. But the Raiders are the team that the Jags are probably going to be working a massive deal out for. I think it's going to be the Raiders, ladies and gentlemen. And I can see the Raiders moving on from 1 or 2 of their superstars in a part of this deal, because it's going to be a rebuild. All right. JD the Great said, nah, he's staying at Colorado. Okay, JD. They said he was staying at Jackson. Patrick Bell said, nah, Deion got that top QB recruit now, so he's staying. They said that when he was in Jackson, when he left all them kids. This is what I want y'all to realize. I think people forget Deion's vision. When he first started at Jackson State, what he said. Deion is on a mission. He wants to get our young men opportunities at the smaller schools. He wants to give them opportunities. He wants to give, HBCUs more look and different things like that, right? And when he went to Jackson State, he changed the culture and he brought in some immense talent, made it to their, D2 championship, right? And they lost, but he made it there. Then he went to Colorado and everybody got mad. Oh, I thought you say you wanted to. And you got to understand, he thinks bigger than the typical person. He has a bigger vision than most people can see around him. So when he went to Colorado, he didn't feel like he was selling out his vision. He saw an opportunity to make his vision greater. Let me get in this D1 situation and bring some of these kids with me. This is how you lift them to the next level. You got to get on the next level to lift someone to the next level. You don't keep inspiring them on the level they at. So when he went D1, when he got up there in the big leagues, Colorado, he cut he ain't cut. He made 90% of the team quit. And who do you think he brought in? Some dogs, some guys that he believe in, some top recruits, but it's a lot of kids on that team that would have been going to HBCUs, but he see the talent in them and he brought them up. And the ultimate goal, if you don't see it by now, is to get to the NFL so that when it's time to go scouting at colleges, he's not just going to the big schools. His scouting department and whatever NFL team he coaches, they're going to be in these small schools looking for dogs. Recruiting great players in small schools. That's how you impact generational wealth, changing people's lives that would have, been overlooked. And that's what I believe he's going to do. And in the whole process, the gift that he gets for doing it is being able to do what he loves the most, coaching his son on every level, growing together, being with him. I really think that that's going to be a package deal situation. But if not, then they go their separate ways. But time will tell and we'll see. But I truly do believe, even if Deion isn't there, Shedeur Sanders might end up being a Raider. He's going to end up being a Raider. Because I don't see any other team on here that makes me feel like Deion would be comfortable with his child, playing for. So the Raiders, in my opinion, are going to be the front runners for Deion's Shedeur Sanders. Now, Cam Ward, on the other hand, that's where it gets tricky. That's where it gets tricky, ladies and gentlemen. Where does Cam Ward go? And the one thing we don't know is we haven't heard from Cam Ward. Cam Ward isn't the talking type to tell you his plans. Is Cam Ward going to be okay going to a team like Tennessee or the New York Giants or something like that? How does Cam Ward feel about it? Is he going to want to go to an organization where he feels like he has a good chance to win right away instead of one that's trying to build that keeps failing? It's going to be very interesting to see what he decides. And listen, gone are the days where you think players don't have control over who drafts them. Gone are those days, ladies and gentlemen. If they don't want to come to you, they won't come to you. These kids are making millions in college now. They're not dying for money. They will quietly tell you, you might as well trade that pick and get a haul because I'm not playing for you. You can have my rights if you want, but you're going to be wasting time for a long time. That's the reality of the NFL now. Tyler said, what team do you think could or will trade up, will shock or surprise us? Ooh. Now you asking questions. I obviously think Cleveland may trade up, but I think the Jets are going to give it all they have to trade up. And here's why. There's no one player in the draft outside of Shedeur, Cam Ward, or Travis Hunter or Alvin Gentry that's going to change the Jets' future just like that. Now, they can get a weapon. They can get a great player. They can get a building block piece. But nothing's going to change their current situation, which they built this team to win now, and they only got one more year to try to do it. Then all these contracts start expiring and stuff. So I could see the Jets going ahead and preparing for their future and trading up and running it back with the current team and telling the young quarterback, you'll compete with Aaron Rodgers. If you're ready, you're ready. And we're not going to take favoritism of him over you. If you're not ready, then he's going to play and you get a year to just chill and watch behind him, but you will play the second year, no question. And I think that's an excellent situation for the Jets to be in. I know they all like, oh, cut Rodgers. I just think that's a terrible idea. So if you're able to go get a Cam Ward, you put him in camp battling with Aaron Rodgers. If he wins the job, he wins the job. He's the starter. Aaron will retire. Bam. Aaron might retire just from drafting him to begin with. just to make him compete. Okay, then it is what it is. But if Aaron stays and he wins the job, then hey, Aaron plays this year. Cam gets that 1 year to develop under him. Same with Shedeur, if that's a possibility. So yeah, I can see the Jets moving up as well. Now, who else? Who else could shock us? The Miami Dolphins could shock you. The Miami Dolphins could shock you. The Miami Dolphins have the draft capital and the assets, players potentially for trading. People will shun that off because we're about to win some more games, but Miami could take their first pick this year, the first pick next year, take a player or two that has some talent, take a player or two. Like, yeah, they could. Miami could tag Javon Holland if they want and put him as a part of a trade if they want it. Tag and trade. These are things Miami can do. And here's the deal. If Miami was to do something like that, move up and get a quarterback, because here's what's funny to me. Everybody's saying, hey, will we take Daniel Jones? Will we take Jameis Winston as our backup next year? Let me tell you something. What good is that going to do? Here's what's funny to me. Let me say this about the Miami Dolphins, okay? My team, the team I love. Here's what's funny to me about all of that. Hey, man, Daniel Jones is like a low-end starter. He would be a great backup. Yeah, you're right. You know, he's a low-end starter. That's what a great backup is. Ladies and gentlemen, the Jets are 2-8 with Daniel Jones. What is the difference from having Tyler Huntley, who was 1-3? Like, people don't get this. Y'all think that is just about a better name? Daniel Jones is 2-8 as a starter with the Giants. See, this is what's wrong with people. They keep on trying to make Tua fit. We just need a good backup. Most of the backups in this league haven't won more than 2 games this year. Now, I know they barely play, but I'm just saying the ones that did come in to spare, show me the one that got a winning record. Cooper Rush in Dallas, losing record. Who else? The backup quarterbacks. They had to start Drake May because the starter wasn't doing well. So Drake May, as a rookie, ain't doing it. The Giants about to find out with DeVito, and then you want to take the Giants starting quarterback but he's 2-8. That's not going to help you. What you need is a quarterback that you don't think is going to have this type of injury history. And then you try to get a good backup, but you got to have a better starter. And I'm not even talking about skill on the field, one that's more reliable. You can't live this life expecting Tua to miss 4+ games a season and keep going down the same road. When he got that concussion earlier this year, ladies and gentlemen, the Dolphins should be all in quarterback mode. And maybe you treat Tua like you treat Kirk Cousins. You go move up and you get you a first-round quarterback, and if you can get the best of the best, you get them. And, hey, you don't have to rush. You don't have to play right away unless you're better right away. Then let's go. And then you trade Tua. So I could see Miami making this kind of move. I could definitely see that happening. But it's a lot of teams that's dealing with these contracts just signed, but the quarterback isn't great living up to it. Jacksonville's dealing with it. The Browns are dealing with it. The Dolphins are dealing with it. The Jets are dealing with it. Cowboys, because Dak ain't been playing great. A lot of teams are dealing with that. So it's just where we are now. So Cam Ward, man, he's the prize in my opinion. A lot of teams capable of moving up to get him. But who has the best offer? Who got the best package? Who's going to give up the most? Who's going to give up the most? And I think that it's going to be the Browns or the Jets and the Raiders that are going to be the real fighters in this draft, moving to where they want to move to get who they want to get. But I will say this, Tennessee and New York has a lot of leverage if they can keep losing. Why? Because Jacksonville would love to have the number 2 or number 3 pick and get more assets back because they don't need the quarterback. They just know that they need at least the 3rd overall pick so they can get Travis Hunter. That's what's in their mind. We need at least the 3rd overall pick so we can get Travis Hunter. So Tennessee and New York, talk to me. Y'all want to get up here? New York, you like Cam? Tennessee, you like Cam? Well, who's the highest bidder? And whoever the highest bidder move up. And this is where it gets real interesting. If I'm Jacksonville, I trade with the number 2 team. You want Cam? I'll trade with Tennessee before anybody. Then when I get the number 2 pick and I get an additional 2nd or 1st rounder, I'm going to trade number 2 with number 3. But I'm going to threaten, hey, Cleveland want to move up. Jets trying to move up. Tennessee, New York, you want one of these guys. I will pull a double whammy in the draft if I'm Jacksonville. And then at number 3, I'll get, if I'm Jacksonville, at number 3, I'll go ahead and get Travis Hunter. And you might have the 4th pick too. You might have the 5th pick too. Now you want to look at guys like Alvin Gentry or something. I would load up in this draft with the best players because I have the number 1 pick and I don't want to use it on a quarterback. M85 said, God willing, we land Shedeur. I think he's a Raider, bro. You just got to keep losing. You just got to keep losing. It's that simple. And let me look at the rest of your schedule. Let me look at the schedule. Here we go. All right. Here we go. All right. Tough. 3, 4 losses. And guess what? You got a chance to lose to the Jags at week 16. You can lose every game on here, technically. But that Jaguars game, you got to actually try to lose. You got to put all you can into losing. So losing to the Jags, you're probably the number 1 overall pick. Anyway, Raiders lose out, they're the number 1 overall pick, I believe. If you lose out. But you got to lose out. No doubt. But yeah, anywho, last but not least, real quick, I wanted to talk about Travis Hunter. He's free game for anyone. Anybody that him and Alvin Gentry, anybody that want to maneuver or do anything, he's free range for anyone. He's going to be that 3rd person off the board that's going to be that nice weapon for anyone, and then Alvin Gentry right behind him. It's going to be beautiful. It's just going to be interesting to see. This is going to be one of the most exciting off seasons. Quarterbacks moving, the draft situations happening. One of the most exciting off seasons ever. Buckle your seatbelts and get ready for it, ladies and gentlemen. Get ready for it. All right, y'all, man. But that's what I have. That's all I've had for y'all this morning. Thank y'all so much for waking up and ball. I appreciate y'all tuning in with me in solo mode. As always, every Friday, I'll be live right here on Wake Up and Ball. Y'all hit that like button. Let your friends and family members know about the channel. Salute to you all. And I will see y'all Monday morning as we recap all the football games that happened over the weekend. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Peace. I am out. I will see y'all soon. Let's go. Wake up and ball. Don't forget, this stream was powered by BetUS, ladies and gentlemen. Take advantage of that 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000 using code YouTube150. Till next time, see you soon. Peace.